Okay, this is Math 2-1. There's two concepts we need to talk about. First one is perimeter. Okay, if we have a shape, right, this is 5 on one side, this is 10 on the other side. Perimeter is if I was like a little man running all the way around the shape. Boo, 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 boo. How far did he run? Right? He went 5, then he went 10, then he went 5, then he went 10 again. So a grand total of 30. Right? So if you're going to do a formula for it, it would be length plus width plus length plus width, or 2 times length plus 2 times width. Okay? The next concept, right, we need to worry about is area. And yes, these are both in your notebook. Should be in your notebook on page 11. So you go back, right, perimeter, draw me a picture, perimeter is the distance around an object So, perimeter is the distance around the object. So I would like you to have perimeter. I would like you to have this definition right here. Right? I would like you to have this formula, length plus width plus length plus width, or 2 times length plus 2 times width. Right? And one example. You don't have to draw the little man running around it. Okay. Next, I would like you to have area. Okay. Same same figure. All right. Now, we cannot measure it in distance. Distance is measured in flat lines. Instead, we have to measure it in squares. Right? So I'm not trying to run around this shape anymore. Instead, I'm trying to like cover it in these little tiles or figure out exactly how much space there is here. Right? So I am no longer dealing in just inches. I'm dealing in inches squared. Right? Or units squared, whatever it is, because you can be feet squared, or miles squared, or anything squared. Okay. So, if this is 10 inches long, that means you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches, right, along that edge. But we're measuring inches squared. So that means I've got this row here, and that's 10 square inches along that row. But then I got another row on top of it. And I have another 10 inches along that row. Right? And then I got another row on top of that. And another 10. Right? So I've got 10, 20, 30. Right? Then I go here and I have another 10. 40. And then I go up here and I've got another 10. And that's 50. Right? So for every inch that is tall, I add another row of inches, of square inches, right? So if my base is like 10, right, and it's only 1 inch tall, then my area would be 10 inches squared. But if it was 2 inches tall, it would be 20 inches squared, right? If it was 3 inches tall, it would be 30 inches squared. If it was 40 inches tall, it would be 40 inches squared. If If it's 50 inches tall like this one is, it's 50 inches squared, right? So to save time, I can just say whatever, right, the length is, I can just multiply that by my width, and that will give me the area, all the space in here. Length times width, right? So area is the amount of surface an object covers in units, in square units or units squared. That is area. Okay, so I want that definition as well, and a picture that looks something like this in your notebook. Now, I would like you to go to oh, wait, hold on. There's one last thing I want you to be able to figure out, right? So, we just figured that length times width equals area. But if we are given an area, right, and one of these measurements, length or width, right, suppose this is 8 inches, can I use the area to find what my width is? Well, if length times width equals area, right, and I know that this, right, is 8 inches along, and this whole thing is 40 inches squared, the question then becomes, how many 8s would I need to get 40 inches squared? Right? Because the first row would give me 8, obviously. The second row would give me 16. The next row would give me 24. The next row would give me 32. And then the final row would give me 40 inches squared. Right? So, I need to know how many 8s go into 40 to figure out how many inches this is tall. And of course the answer would be 5. Right? So, if I know the area is 40 inches, and I know that my length is 8 inches, then I know that my width has to equal 5 inches, right? So if I'm 40 inches squared, right, like I am here, my bottom row is 8, then I know I need to be 5 inches in width in order to get to those 40 inches. So 40 inches divided by 8 inches equals a width of 5 inches. Okay. Now that we've covered that, I would like you to go to page 46, and I want you to do 16 to 24. That's 8 problems. Should be pretty straightforward. Finish that up. And then we can talk about the homework.